We are live with Richie and Wes.
He's Richie.
And he's Wes.
And we're with a very special guest. Ray Mendoza is here.
Hello.
Hey, y'all. This week on a very special episode of Richie and Wes, medical aesthetics. We'll be talking about all the non-invasive things you can do and many other topics as they come up, I'm sure. There'll probably be a Brittany rant in here somewhere.
Of course. So. We run off topic all the time about everything.
Just stay tuned. And if you don't like what we're talking about, hit the forward button like twice and we'll probably be on a different topic.
Completely different topic.
Ray, we are so glad that you are here with us. You're a first-time guest to the show.
Oh, yes, I am. And this is exciting. It's first time doing anything in general like this. So thank you for the invite.
Well, thank you. You are the social media manager for Beverly Hills Medical or Aesthetic Medics. See, I told you I fucked something up. It's
a mouthful when you think about it. There's four different.
It really is.
Beverly Hills. So you just got to remember, it's Beverly Hills. Like that one is automatic. Just back and around Beverly Hills. Aesthetic Medics. You know, because your nurse is your aesthetic medic.
Yeah, exactly.
Who will be taking care of you. So whenever they say, this is your aesthetic medic, Katie.
Some people call them injectors. That's a very popular term.
No. We go with aesthetic.
Really? I've never heard that before. I don't like it. No.
I
don't like injector either.
It sounds like something out of a Saw movie. But no, I don't want to ever hear that again.
Hence why we've gone with the term, aesthetic medic. Or, they'll say like nurse injector is what I've heard people say for sure. But, aesthetic medic, just because why not?
Yeah. No, it elevates the experience.
Exactly. Yeah. Considering we've been there for about 20 years as well, it's like we are quite elevated for a small little Botox place in Beverly Hills, basically.
Damn, 20 years is a long ass time. Jesus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's been at it for a very long time. My boss, Robin, just a very, very surprising, like story arc with her. And it's just been like such a great experience, but then like almost like 2 years being with her, especially.
Aw, we'd love to hear that.
She's very motherly. If you guys are in the Los Angeles area, definitely I would say to check them out because they will make you feel very special and very loved and very beautiful.
That is exactly the best way to describe her. It is the motherly approach is what she has, which is a little different when you go into a medical office. Like you always expect a doctor or the nurse to be like, so what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And she'll kind of do that, but be like, but why?
Well, and I think a lot of people are nervous the first time they go in to maybe get Botox or filler or some of the other stuff we'll be talking about. But I was curious to know kind of how you got involved with it. Was it something you were looking at? Is it one of those things where you were like, if I work for a medic aesthetic, could I also be nation of my own?
Okay, of course. it comes with, it's the social benefit of working inside of a medical office like that. Yes, of course, you're going to be taking advantage of the services, but I've worked in medical a couple of years back, and getting into this field is quite easy just because it's already under my belt. But I didn't look for this job. I was already working somewhere else doing just, of all things, just like customer service and insurance. During the pandemic, but my best friend, my bestie, was struggling to get an appointment at her office that I'm working at, and she was like, "Are you looking for a better job? Do you want a better experience?" To which she was basically saying, "You would be a great benefit to this office, and this will make it easier for me to get an appointment when I need to call you." And I jumped on that like nobody's business. But the plus side was me and Robin connected immediately. And I just was like, oh my God, like you're too much. And I love it. And I want to see where this goes. And she basically was like, oh my God, you're adorable. I want to see where this goes. And thus far, we've just been like the two pieces that needed to be joined together to really get her to do what she needs to do while I handle everything else that's happening inside the business.
Oh, that's great.
Well, and Robin being the owner and having been around for 20 years, as she'll tell you herself. And I think she kept, what did she keep calling our podcast? Did she keep calling it like a radio show or something like that?
Something like that.
She's very
so
She
cute.
struggles with those.
Yeah, she is
Thumb drive.
adorable.
She can't say that. She couldn't say podcast. I forget
Yeah.
what she was calling on, but yeah, she just could not call it what it was. It was adorable.
That's adorable.
But she's extremely knowledgeable. And I have to say, too, I mean, when I first walked in, I didn't know that you worked there. So the minute that I walked in, I was obviously like, oh my God, that's right. And it's the perfect place for you because I think you just have the personality for it. And it's obvious that you know, are knowledgeable as well. But that was, that was a pleasant surprise. And I think a great match, honestly. You know, so many people when they're looking for their career path and finding that right thing for them, sometimes they stumble into something, or sometimes they're looking for certain things, or they've got friends that whatever, however it happens. But finally, when you make that match, it works and everything kind of settles in.
Exactly. And I do agree that that's kind of the experience that we've had thus far. And we always talk about it actually in the office. And at one point I've actually told Robin, I'm kind of tired of hearing this story every single time, Robin, but you're so adorable that you're so like gleaming over the fact that you now have somebody that's helping you keeping your life in order inside this space. Which is all she needed. She just needed a little bit more organization. And I'm like, okay, I'm here to handle
we all could.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, help us with the show. We were just talking before we started recording about sort of the way that the stigma of various procedures like Botox and filler have changed over the years. I think there's a certain, with men especially, there's still some cloudiness, but I do feel like we've come a long way.
You are very correct. There's even in the marketing that they put out there, like for example, the wrestling company that makes Dysport has really tried to target the male community, especially. So most men that call us are always like, "Oh, I'm here for Dysport because I hear it's better for men." And it's like, if you can have a demographic call you specifically for your product, I'm like, you've done something quite right. And when they're calling specifically for it, which is a product that most other people don't really use for some reason, which
or know about.
But when the male demographic is calling for it, I'm just like, I'm here for it, because then it's also a pathway towards Botox or Xeomin or anything else like the HA fillers and so on and so forth. Like really like what the women have already been experiencing, both like women and identifying but experiencing for many years, like the male community, both gay and heterosexual, are now finally jumping on board for some reason, which is
it may very shock you to know that a lot of gay men listen to our podcast. So
what? Really?
Yeah. Not just because we shade Hollywood and
we got to put a stop to that very quickly.
Yeah.
I'll have
Please
none of
don't.
that on this show.
I will have all of it. All of it.
Just kidding.
Here for it all. Here for all the gays.
I see honestly. It in what they call it, Brotox now. You know, guys are
going. You've got the Brotox aspect of it, correct? But you've also got, again, back to marketing. Like Xeomin, the other company that makes like what they call the Smart Tox. It's more of it's a shelf-stable neurotoxin like Botox, but doesn't have to be refrigerated, which is real cool. And it doesn't have that additional preservative that Botox supposedly has that some people can be allergic to, apparently, that they don't have. So it isn't an alternative. Fun thing that most of my nurses, actually all my nurses will tell me, is that all neurotoxins work about the same way. It's just about dosage. So as long as you're putting the right amount of it, you're going to get the same effect through and throughout. So like, for example, I just did my most recent treatment literally 2 days ago. And I'll always jump around depending on how soon or how late might do my treatment. And it's been 3 months since my last treatment. So this time it was a little bit lighter, which is great. Great. Lighter. So I'm at 50 units right now of like Botox. So that's half a bottle of Botox is what I will use on my face to get it to where I need it to both retain and still allow me to make motion and show you some sort of like, anything without leaving.
Smiling, in case you're curious, y'all.
Smiling and just emotion. I don't look like a frozen zombie. Like it's the
Okay.
total.
Yeah.
It's a total fallacy. It just depends on dosage. Yes, you can freeze a person to that extent, but just dose it
Some
right and
people
go
want to be
if you
frozen.
get it
That's
right.
what they want.
And some people do,
Yeah.
and some people want that. Some people want just like a frozen bitch face, and that's fine. Just a full bottle of Botox. So expect to pay for the full bottle of Botox. So don't get mad when it's like, why is it this much money? And it's like, because you want that. And if you
Yeah,
don't,
that actually
your
that
units isn't going to get it there. So
that brings me to my next topic is your like pricing and cost. So I think for a lot of people who might be curious about the process or maybe have done a little something but are curious what other places are doing.
pricing always varies, but you pay for for the service is what you really are looking for. Some places will charge you a very initial nominal fee or a small amount versus like what the regular cost would be. Like the general cost is anywhere from $14 to $18 per unit. When you're talking about
Botox,
either
right.
for Botox or Xeomin. Not even talking about Juvo. Juvo is another one that's also come out. And then the most recent one that's been introduced into the market is like Daxify, and I think that one's like $50 per unit, and there's a reason for that one being so much
Jesus
higher.
Christ.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, that one's a fun one. That one is because they are promising anywhere from like versus the 3 to 4 months from Botox, you're getting 6 to 8 months of an experience with their version. So you're basically paying twice the amount because not even twice the amount, literally, because you're getting all the service done in just one shot. So you are probably not going to be back until next year.
And it also depends on where you're at. LA, New York, of course, you're going to be paying those prices. If you're
very much confirmed, like I said, anywhere from 14 to 18 just in LA,
right? But it might be like $8.
Like
it might be $8 a unit if you're getting it from your dentist in North Dakota. So.
Your dentist isn't there for the aesthetic approach. If you're getting aesthetic,
but I have heard of that.
Dentist.
Some listeners did reach out to me when we mentioned we were doing this show, and they were telling me about their particular experiences and stories. And there are people who are trained. I know you don't like the word, but injectors who do. They're like, you know what? I mean, it depends on what you're injecting into whom. But
but you're correct, and it's possible that a person that has an aesthetic background is working at that dental office. But it's a little
or they've been trained. They've been trained in it, or who knows? Maybe
I'm here for my teeth grinding and whatnot. But also, let's go ahead and do some Botox.
Right.
The only other reason I would.
I don't want a one-stop place to shop for anything medical.
I wouldn't do that either, honestly. Let everyone that work on their personal expertise and just keep it to itself. You can expect Botox inside of a space like that, though. When you talk about people that deal with TMJ or teeth grinding, etc., which is another treatment that you can find in our office too, which is people that grind their teeth at night. That have those excessively big muscles, especially for females, or female identifying, they can inject Botox there to both minimize
slim it down
movement, and it causes it to slim down in most cases. Yes, for most people, and it just creates that additional, just like softer look.
Yeah.
And decreases the grinding as well as the headaches that people are associated to that.
As opposed to building up the jawline, which is the current trend with the fillers.
You're like right on the tail of every question I'm going to ask. That's so funny. I was going to ask about cost the last time, and now I was just going to like segue into fillers and non-surgical jawlines and nose jobs and all of those things that are going on.
Correct. All things that I've had.
We've been doing the show way too long. We just kind of we're like two women whose periods sync up. Like our thought process regarding topics has just synced up.
Isn't that lovely? That's like me and my
in a very
injector.
weird way.
No, that's basically me and my lead injector at the office. But when we're off, and it's like we just recently had a day where it's like she was on and I was off, and she was like, I'm like, I'm not on my meds right now. Anyway, I'm like, it's on back order apparently, and that's distressing, but I'll be fine. I've got weed. It's fine.
That's fine. Self-medicate. That's what
that's all I can do.
So that is
But
kind of the trend right now.
The main trend, like you said,
Jawline.
dermal fillers, correcting jaw lines or other
Mm-hmm.
areas that are just being corrected, like you said, with non-surgical procedures, correct. There are certain products that have been designed specifically for those areas now that have been FDA approved. For example, Juvederm has the largest collection of HA fillers that are designed for specific areas, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Juvederm Ultra, which is the original standard for lip filler. They are also the company that makes Botox, by the way. They've got now your Volbella, which is great for just the softer approach to a lip. It's great for rejuvenation of a lip because it's a thinner version of an HA filler. To clarify, HA, hyaluronic acid, is a natural occurring gel in your body. The version that you're getting is synthetic, but it will break down naturally like you would in your body a little bit faster. But that's why they tell you that it'll last you about anywhere from like 6 months to about a year, depending on the product type and where it's being applied. Which then goes back to jaw lines, though. Jaw lines have been a great trend for most males out there. When you've got people like Christian Bale, and like even Chris Pratt for some reason, and if you have like your Superman out there, like it's just like jaw lines, just these masculine jaw lines, some feminine type of looking man.
I feel like that's one trend that you really have to be with someone who has a great aesthetic, because it could just make your face look bigger.
Yes, I was
always.
Again, we're on the same boat today. That's so funny, because I was gonna say, how would you like give advice to someone looking to do that type of procedure? Just be extensive research on the doctor, because I mean it can
the doctor or the nurse, yes. Like we present a lot of the work on our Instagram. So if you follow our Instagram at BHAM90210, BAM 90210, you'll see actual work like the before and afters. And once you get to see their technique basically and how they can transform a person's like actual
but that's
aesthetic.
only 2D. You don't always see things in 3D. And
well,
we'll put BAM in the notes, y'all.
I've seen some people look great in pictures, which maybe that's their thing, but you see them in person and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That is
or sometimes it's the opposite, to where someone doesn't look that great in pictures, but in person they look amazing.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
I see it a lot, actually.
No, I don't think so. No, sorry, I had to call it now. But
I've seen so many people that I'm like, something looks.
So kudos to them.
But in person, it's like, oh, okay, like those lips aren't that big. They look actually
some
like
people
natural.
Don't photograph well.
They
That's
don't.
True.
It's just probably that, but getting away from that though, the fact is, like, our approach, at least at this office, is we try to keep it as natural as possible. We're not really about the excessive or the exaggerated effects. There are people out there that want like the really big lips, so like the exaggerated Angelina Jolie or the porn star lips, as they'll say, or the men with like the jaw lines and the cheeks, etc. And they have that, and people will do that and will do that to themselves. We prefer more of a natural, reserved approach to the way that we do things. Like, you wouldn't know this, but like people say, oh, HIPAA, but no, in this case, because I'm disclosing this, like I've got a number of different versions of like dermal fillers inside of my face, but you wouldn't think that I've had them. Like, I've got 2 syringes of filler already in my lips. I've got 2.5 syringes of filler in my nose because I've done the non-surgical nose job.
Okay.
I've got half a syringe on one cheek, half a syringe on the other cheek, and that was designed to soften or minimize my nasal labial lines because they were coming in. And I've got the proof online. You will see them, and I've got more on my phone that I will not share unless I send them to you. I'll DM them to you, and you'll be like, "Oh, I see it." Plus a little Bellatero because it's a very thin HA just to soften it. And then there's all the Botox that we sprinkle in all over my face. Jawline is my dad, so that's natural. But for those that want it, there is Velux, which is the best option for that approach. It is the more dense HA. It is the more expensive one as well. It is like usually ranges from like 900 and above per syringe. And generally for a jawline, you're looking at 2 to 3 syringes. So do the math. Yeah.
Well, you went right into my final question, which is what done?
What have I done? And I've
You
just told you
gave a nice
everything.
list.
Yeah, literally. You
But
already.
I think we could actually go around the room because the stigma is off. And I know that everyone in this conversation has done a little something to
Have we?
rejuvenate.
Just a little bit. I'm the one that actually introduced Wes to Robin, oddly enough.
That is very true. I was going.
Okay, so wait, you're telling. So now you're telling
I was
me
going to Taylor Swift's plastic
Richie.
surgeon before I went to.
Yes, he
your
was.
guys', yeah.
I was like, yeah, I want to get a little something done.
I'm sorry. Are you telling me Taylor Swift has a plastic surgeon?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Everyone in Hollywood.
I don't follow her like that.
An aesthetic medic. Are you kidding me?
The rest of the wine.
You're right. The number of people in Hollywood that come into my
I'm not
office
saying
have a
what
number of
she's
people
had
that I will, they are
done
protected by
or that
HIPAA. I
she
will not
has
disclose or
anything
name
done.
drop.
Yeah.
You've
Mhm.
already
just
said that
saying
she's
that-
got a doctor, so that says enough. I don't want to know what
Because
it's
everyone
done.
has to keep up.
Mhm.
Yeah, we do.
It could,
At
it could be-
38,
it could be laser. It could be laser facials. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not saying what you
listen,
said.
at 38, I feel that doing these procedures have held me up well enough where people really have to take a double look. We're like, wait, is he really his age? Or like those that have known me for a number of years, like will still see me. We're like, wait, I'm like, yeah, like I've had
Well, and
Botox.
don't you also just feel like, I mean, honestly, we all want to feel good about ourselves, and when we look in the mirror,
Yes,
we want to
exactly.
see a reflection that at least kind of matches up
Yeah.
to our idea of how we should look for ourselves.
Yes, but that's also a very dangerous way to phrase it, because there's also those that then have their body dysmorphia, unfortunately. There's a number
Yeah,
of people
true.
that remember the fact that Robin is very much that mother. And there have been times
Yeah.
that people come in and she's like, we're going to have a come to Jesus moment. And this is a Jewish woman. And she's going in having a come to Jesus moment with somebody inside the room, which just makes it funny for us because, you know, they don't believe in Jesus. Anyway.
I mean, that they don't believe in him. They just don't believe he was the Messiah. But go on.
Exactly. Yeah, they're aware of him. But it's just the phrasing with a Jewish woman. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
She's so great at that approach because there have been some people that will come in that really are like still struggling with the aesthetics, and we have to remind them that yes, this is the journey. This is what you can do. This is not what we're going to do with you because this is not going to work. And we feel that blah, blah, blah. But we've had those people and we've had those moments with many. You know,
no, that's important that you bring that up because I do think you have to be realistic. You have to be in the right frame of mind. You know. So let's get back to what. Since Rich is the one who introduced me.
Yeah, it's everyone's
the
shocked.
fact that he knows
everyone's shocked about this. Yeah, I actually went to her. It was what 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I had never ever had Botox, and I had some Crovics coming in, and I got those treated, and then I had I have just some lines right below in my teardrop, and I wanted those filled in, and I went there and I had an amazing experience, and I happened to tell Wes about it and recommended him to go see Robin, and now he's been there way more than I've been. I've only come back once, and that was like 2 years ago. So
well, you are blessed. You are blessed.
I will be in soon now.
Yeah, I was doing. To be fair, I was doing a movie, so
true.
I knew I had to look.
I'm like, I will be probably in a couple of weeks.
Remember those projects?
2.5 years. To get some things done since it'll be my birthday.
I also feel like what you had done, if you have your tear troughs done and you have your nasal folds done, I feel like those last a long time.
Yeah, it totally did.
It's not like if you're a porn star or you do a lot of blowjobs and you're getting your lips done.
Exactly.
It's going to be, sorry to all the gay guys listening, you can get those lips done, but the more dick you suck, the more
it's called wear and tear.
Use it and lose it is the but anywhere else it's not gonna go away as fast. I've had my eyes done several times. In fact, I've had my eyes done so many times that I don't know if I need to do it anymore.
What are you doing?
Because every time I go in now, when they look at them, they're like, they look good. I'm like, I know they look good, right? My eyes used to be really sunken, and I started having filler put in under them. I mean, I am a few. I'm having a Samantha moment in Sex and the City. I'm a few years older than you girls, but because I am
Not by much.
bitch, I'm 47.
Bitch, I'm 40 on Sunday.
And I'll be 38, so it's fine.
See,
yeah. The point is, because the fillers, even though I know it's synthetic, it still pulls in your natural moisture, right?
Yes.
So your body that's why when you get filler, you don't want it to be too much at first because it will get more filled, like a little over time over the next like week or two.
It's hydrophilic. She needs moisture. She likes moisture.
Honestly, I feel like I've done it so many times that at this point, my body's been like, "Yep, we're full. This area is great." So that's been my experience. I don't know about everybody else. Obviously, I do feel like I see people get bigger and like more pillow face. So I think you got to watch it. You got to watch it.
I will say this, Ray. Your lips look amazing because I've talked about this on the show before. One of my biggest pet peeves, and I'm all down for having anyone do what they want to do.
Whatever, yes.
However, we're all human and we're all natural voyeurs and observers. And I 9 times out of 10 cannot stand when a man has his lip stones because it doesn't look natural and it doesn't look appealing a lot of times. Mm-hmm. Yours look fucking great. You're one of the 3 people I've met to where I'm like, okay, those lips. I would never guess that you had any type of injection. Which again, I'm not against whatsoever. But most guys, when I see it, will go a little like a smidge overboard if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Where it almost looks like, oh, you're right on point, but like something's a little bit over.
It's fun that you bring that up too. It's just it's funny because I feel like at our office we have a really good experience with the male approach on lips. You'd be surprised how many male lips we do inside of our office. Like that's actually one of the biggest things we even put on full display inside of the office's TV screens. And like I was even reviewing, and I was like throughout the entire like 30-minute reel, I'm like, there's a lot of guys in there. I'm like, we're like really good looking lips. And I was just like, we're doing God's work out here, I think.
No, good.
No,
more people need
to.
It
looks great, and honestly,
they look great and natural. Yeah, they look great and natural. Like you would think,
there's there's always the upper lips way bigger than the bottom lip, which just looks unnatural.
Yeah,
and
your bottom lip should always be bigger. That's a basic rule of anatomy. But yeah, I suck too much dick to get my lips done. But I have had...
That's not true. They still retain clearly, and it's been about like 8 months since my last treatment.
Ray is like, let's compare notes, bitch. How many notches are in your belt?
They're still holding up. Oh my god, my boss is like, what are you talking about, Ray? I was like, we've had these conversations in the office multiple times. She knows I ain't no saint. She knows that. There was one time that I literally called in and was like, I'm gonna be very late. And she was like, it's 12 o'clock today. I know.
Oh, wow.
One of those days, she was like, okay, you can just stay home if you like. I'm like, no, I have to come in. She's like, you can stay home if you like. I'm like, I'm not even home. She's like, I know, just go home. She said, I know, just go home.
Go home and stay there until tomorrow.
Like, I love how she was like, I know. Go to bed. I clearly, I'm like, I figured. I'm like, it's fine. She's no stranger. Again, she's of all people to really have like a great visual comparison to, who has also taken advantage of like, the office that she has. She's a 62 plus year old woman that doesn't look remotely close to 62, and just has like this energy to her that just makes her so oh my god, again, she's like this motherly figure, but like with this energy, this is just like, where did this energy come from? What is this,
she has a lot of energy. If you're planning on having a conversation with Robin, be prepared to wait to speak, because there's a lot she will have to say. But I love that about her because I feel like she kind of has a lot on her mind and she has to get it out.
And it's fun to have that kind of environment when you might be nervous or something. It's gonna calm you down. You're gonna get that kind of
Because if
familial
anything, I feel
situation.
like she
And
does it
she's
because
the
she's more
one.
nervous for you.
She's actually the one, because she was doing it. She's the one that got me to do the last thing that I did, which I guess we'll wrap it up with this,
Yeah.
which is 8, which there are actually billboards around Los Angeles
All over
for
Los
this
Angeles. She
procedure.
sells herself.
It is not cheap at all, but I do feel like it helped to make my skin look a little smoother and a little tighter. Not to a ridiculous degree, maybe not to the degree of the expenses that were required of it. I know you're supposed to do it like a couple times, and I'm like, shit, am I going to drop $2,000 on this shit? But I will say, like, there was, and I know it works over time and all this stuff, but she's the one that convinced me to do it, because just looking at her, you're like, oh, yeah, this is obviously working for you. Whatever this is, and what it is a combination of laser and microdermabrasion, but not in a way that agitates your skin. I've had microdermabrasion before, and it fucked up this weird little area that's above my eyebrow.
Microneedling.
Yes, microneedling.
Microneedling is what you're just talking about.
Yes.
And correct. It's that stamping approach versus the abrasive
rubbing.
needle, which I've had the microneedling myself, and I actually think it really benefited my skin. Like, honestly, there's this glow to my skin, and it worked out great for me. But again, some people's skin type is different and can react very
just that one
differently.
area. Yeah, but this was like being punched in the face about 100 times with tiny needles.
Oh my
And
God.
even though they call it
heat,
not it,
and
I
penetrating.
didn't even notice the heat.
Oh my
But-
goodness.
Well, because you were completely numb. We put
Mhm.
numbing cream on you for a whole hour because
Yeah.
we're like, an hour, because we just want you to not feel anything.
Right. Which I still did, but it would definitely was not as bad as I thought it was going to be, and the healing process took a little while. Yeah,
And again,
it's something
everyone's a
that-
little different. Some people do bruise heavily, some people
Mhm.
do not. I've had patients that have like done it, and like by the next day they're just like boop, and I'm like, oh, get it, bitch. Robin herself, when she did the procedure, had bruising, and she was like, oh, am I gonna be happy with this? But once the bruising went away, she took her arnica pills, she put all that arnica gel on her face like 24/7.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh,
It's a lot. It was intensive. I will say, like, it that's the one thing where it was very intensive, and it was expensive enough where, like, I don't get me wrong.
It does
I
make
will
you think twice about it.
Trust the
But
process.
it does have a really good initial effect.
Right. I will say, because the main reason I got it, because I was doing this movie, and I knew I was going to have a camera on me, and I knew I was going to be wearing makeup, and if you already have texture issues with your skin, just putting makeup on it, even if they're doing, it still just piles on top of that texture. So
we can't all have the RuPaul filter on.
Exactly. There's not enough Vaseline in the world. So I was like, honestly, like a week and a half after, I was like doing comparison photos and looking at, because I have several mirrors around the house, of course, and was like, you know what? I do see a difference. So I feel like it's something that, obviously it's not new. They're on 8, but it's something that is just now.
I don't. Okay, I think like COVID. I don't think that's what the 8 stands for. But
there wasn't a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I just feel like it's catching on now. It's kind of a new trend, and
it's all trend. Everything changes over time, like, which is the main reason why, like, when it comes down to like the devices that are involved, like there's been many devices out there that have like promised to do so and so thing. Like, we still carry a very ancient device, and I'll call it ancient, for laser hair removal, because it was original standard, which is the YAG laser hair removal, which is great for almost all skin types, including black skin. And almost any other standard laser will burn black skin, or even like pigmented skin in general. So having a laser that works for almost all skin types and dark hair in general, which is the only hair type that it usually attacks, having those technologies, there's been more versions of this since then. Ours is so old, and the handpiece is only designed for like super small areas, etc. So when people tell say, I want to do my whole leg, I'm like, that's not gonna happen. It's too much money and too much time. That's not gonna happen.
You'll be here for
Like,
8 hours.
You can go to like one of those other laser places and then come back to us for all the other services, because
You know what? That's what I like too, is someone that you can trust will send you somewhere else.
Yep,
Yes.
and we'll tell
And
you
we've
no.
also connected with people for that reason.
Because I was thinking about, because of that broken blood vessel,
Mhm.
I was asking about some laser stuff, and Robin was like, you know what? We have places for you to go. She wasn't trying to sell me on something
Right.
or do whatever. She's like, this would be better for you. That, to me, I think if you're questioning, looking, doing your research, asking around, you should have the ability to not only get a second opinion, but they should tell you what their expertise limits are.
Mhm.
And we know our limits, and we will literally tell you, the patient. It's like, listen, this is definitely out of our scope. Like, we've had a patient call us about like doing Botox on their calf muscles. Two specific cases actually, and very unique cases. So let me tell you why they would call us for this, because it's a thing. One person called us because he has these excess spasms that have happened after a procedure, that happened from an injury. And he thought maybe using Botox will probably dull the muscle enough to stop it from spasming. To which we're like, listen, maybe, but not a proven thing, not FDA approved, not our scope. Go back to your original surgeon and see if he can fix the mess up that he made, basically.
Yeah.
And the way that we basically spelled it.
That's also going
like, you don't want to guinea pig anyone.
Yeah.
No, we're not that. We're
cool.
not that type of office either. Unless we've done it before and have done it, with proven medical backing, we won't do it.
That's like the guy we had on our show, and I know it's a thing, but
which guy?
Who did the scrotox?
It's been 5.5 years now, Wes.
And that is the funniest.
Oh, I forgot about that
procedure.
I forgot about that, and that whole. Wait, I'm sorry.
That's a whole situation you don't understand. Like, first
wait,
of all,
okay. So real quick before I get myself into into shit, don't talk shit about guests and whatnot. We have plenty of repeat guests all the time. Was this the living room situation with the assistant?
Yes.
Was super. I'm not gonna say who it was.
We will not say who it was, but he brought
in entourage
assistants
into our studio.
On the show.
Our studio was our fucking living room at the time. It wasn't even in here.
No, it was actually we were just like, yeah, come over, have a glass of wine, we'll record a show, and he brought 2 assistants.
Okay. Well,
look, that's not a judgment. I'm just saying, go. You go, girl.
We were like,
you go, girl. Exactly. You've got 2 assistants. But listen, good for her. She's got that type of lifestyle.
It was a lot because he did scrotox.
It was.
She has the type of lifestyle and the type of like
money that she can just
throw out there, that she can just do this type of procedure, which is totally unnecessary and unproven, and just
it's off label.
It's a waste of money. It's off label. It's and Botox has been used very off label, even in aesthetic offices. Let's be honest. Yeah. It has been used off label. Botox is originally it's for wrinkle reduction. But you can use it for your migraines. You can use it for sweat reduction.
Botox was originally used to correct what we call a wandering or / lazy eye.
Yes,
to
correct.
Paralyze the muscle because it's not a lazy eye, as with many things that we define. It's incorrect. It actually is a hyperactive eye.
Yes,
the muscle
overworking.
is so strong that's attracted to I know my shit, girl. Was attracted to all these lights, so they would use Botox to calm that shit down, and bring it in and correct that, and that's where it started. And look at us now.
I forgot all about the scrotox. Oh my god,
he's still on that one, and we're talking about like
I would just
call the hyperactive eye.
I was like
issue.
We
can call it lazy eye because it's just a lazy approach because it's so much easier to say.
But also because we always judge people who have any kind of difference, any kind of otherism. It's not even their fucking fault whatsoever that they have a hyperactive eye muscle, and yet we're gonna be like, "Oh, your eye's lazy."
Oh no, it's too slow to work like the rest of it. No, actually, it's working harder than the rest of it. So.
But listen, all those products in general. those products were designed for other things, and then they discovered, oh, we can use it for something else. Like Latisse is my biggest and favorite one. What is it really originally for? I can't totally remember, but the fact that it continued to like grow eyelashes or hair, they're like, oh, let's use it for that instead. Or on top of that, you've got Ozempic out there that people keep talking about, but this is for diabetes treatment. So now you got people that have diabetes that are struggling to find diabetes treatment because these people are using it for
these
weight
fucking
loss.
rich bitches are trying to get fucking a weight loss
skinny
going on.
Skinty. Like, they want to be skinty, medically skinty.
So ridiculous.
And it's like, no,
the people who need this medication.
But Latisse is one of those that I'm okay with because it doesn't impact anybody negatively either, or it just gives you longer eyelashes, and it's amazing.
There you go. Ray, before we go,
available in our office.
what would you say, Ray, to someone who was curious, never tried anything, never done anything? What would you say the like go-to safe kind of procedure would be to do?
Oh, that's a very loaded question, but honestly, it really comes down to what is it that's really mostly bothering you, I guess. Like if you really just wanted to focus on just one area, like my favorite one is the 11s. But it's weird to call it the 11s because I never got the 11s, the standard like little in between your eyebrows.
Your eyebrows,
it is medically called the glabella. So the glabella area, you would approach that with a little bit of Botox, of course. Just a little bit of Botox, about 10, 15, 20 units is about the original standard. I use about 15 to 18 units for myself. But 20 units is almost medically standard for the glabella to get or soften and minimize the 11 lines that normally occur if you have the 11s. I have the very hard one off the middle center. So the fact that my ADHD type of person has an off the center line,
can't handle it.
If it was 11, I'd be like, okay, I probably would have been able to deal with it.
It's even.
But it's off center, one really big bulging line. And I'm like, no.
I have one eyebrow that's hyper powered. So when I get Botox on my forehead, I have to get more on one side.
This one.
And the other. Yeah.
This one has the highest dosage on this corner. The last time that we did it, even after the fact, it came back so quick. She was like,
"You're like, it's breaking through." It's breaking through.
Both of my nurses looked at it and were like, "Oh," and I'm like, "That's just how she is."
It's like it's acting up again. She's starting.
But then again, I feel like it. But I also feel like it's because everybody sits on this side of my workstation.
Yeah.
That it's just like.
Oh, that makes sense.
So
but
that's
everybody's different.
Everyone's different. But everyone's muscle, pulse, etc. We are not symmetrical. You've seen those pictures where like you try to go down the middle. Every side, like if you do that split, it's weird. We're not symmetrical. We have every single side is different. It pulls differently. It works differently, strength wise, etc. And you just have to tox and approach and follow up appropriately so that you can get the effect as that you're looking for. Like the biggest struggle that we have is people not following up and letting us know if we needed to give you more. There's that, it just didn't work. It's like, no, you're using a little bit more. Yeah, so I group on with 20 units when you needed 60. So let's give you what you need.
You cannot do everything at once. No. I think
and then there's also
a smart approach to it is to do one little thing at a time, build on that. It's sort of like painting or whatever, right? Like you can't, you have to prime the wall, and then you got to get your color down, and then maybe it needs a second coat. Like you can't do everything at once. It's gonna be overdone. You got to take it step by step.
Yeah,
it's a process. It could take 6 months. It could take a year before you're fully where you're at. Ray, we've had so much fun talking to you as it is the end of the episode. We hope you have enjoyed our conversation and that you have gained some knowledge. We'd love to hear about your approach to aging gracefully. And you can always get at us on our socials at Richie and West. It's Richie with a Y. It's the name of the show. Until next time.
Goodbye.